This is Destinee Marbley from Mrs. Hernandez 6th period AP Language and Composition, March 14, 2015. Book Review. Gina Showalter's Intertwine engaged my interest in her book due to her use of original style and imagination. This book is about a 16-year-old boy named Aiden Stone who abnormally has four human souls living inside his head. One can time travel, one can raise the dead, one can tell the future, and one can possess another human soul. Aiden was in and out of institutions and juvenile detention centers. Therefore, the only thing he finds comfort in times, are the souls. But now, they are disrupting his life and causing him all kinds of trouble. For instance, he'll blink and suddenly he's a younger Aiden, reliving the past. One wrong move, and he'll change the future. Or he'll walk past a total stranger and know how and when she or he is going to die. He now wants the souls to leave. All he wants is peace now. Everything is a blur to him until he meets a girl who quiets the voices. A girl named Mary Ann Gray, who is the total opposite. He is a loner. She has friends. He does not care what anyone thinks. She tries to make everyone happy. Mary Ann Gray is not too fond of Aiden when they first met, but now it seems as if the tables have turned. Somehow, they share an inexplicable bond of friendship, a bond that was tested by a werewolf shapeshifter who wants Mary Ann for his own, and a vampire princess who Aiden can't resist. Talk about a crazy love story. Connections on how I made connections to my story intertwined to the story How to Read Literature Like a Professor. Chapter 1 from How to Read Literature Like a Professor, The Quest. The story starts off with the protagonist, Aiden Stone, conversing with four human souls within his head. Aiden Stone, a wayward teen in the middle of Crossroads, Oklahoma, not the ideal protagonist, is trying to work towards getting rid of the souls in his head, but he still has a long way to go due to the difficulties the souls present. The real reason he works to get rid of these souls from his mind is to free them from the burden of being trapped in his mind. They also burden him by not allowing him peace within himself, although this is the only thing they can do to occupy themselves. He wants to get rid of them from his mind, to finally be at peace and not be a burden of the weight of abnormity. Chapter 8 of How to Read Literature Like a Professor, Situational Archetypes/Patterns. In the beginning of the story, Aiden meets a girl that lived by him named Mary Ann Gray. He began to know that every time he was around her, he felt free, and the voices in his head were no longer. She made him forget about the many obstacles he faced in life just by her being in his sight. A shape-shifting werewolf wants Mary Ann Gray for himself, and is determined to get her. While Aiden is deciding on whether to intervene or not, he realizes that he has a newfound love over a princess vampire. Authors like Showalters include situational archetypes like this to highlight how one character can have such a strong effect on the entire story and its outcome. Showalters also included this because it adds texture to his story. It intrigues the readers so that they can easily connect it to another story they have possibly read or to a real-life scenario. In a way, this story is like a fairy tale with a bit of a twist compared to the other fairy tale types of stories. The fairy tale types of stories tend to come to life and allow the readers to visualize themselves within the story, and that is what Showalters wanted to do. Chapter 9 of How to Read Literature Like a Professor, Greek Mythology, My Connection. With the voices in his head going crazy, he begins to feel like he does not even know himself. He even questions everything he does because he's afraid of what others might assume about him, but that was him just being paranoid in the past. The voices in his head not only control him mentally, but at times physically as well. With this, he has been presumed crazy and he was in and out of juvenile detention centers. He has no peace. He began to lose dignity while also trying to survive. He always felt like he did not belong at times. or like a different person. Many may see this story as the main character, Aiden, battling against the world, but it is not. He is battling himself and all the personal problems, and many he has no real control over. While he has all these weights put on his shoulders, he has just encountered a new situation of having to choose between a girl who gives him peace that he's been wanting for years, or a girl who catches his attention merely because she is no normal person herself. Throughout the chapters, chapter 10 of How to Read Literature Like a Professor, Setting and Weather. Throughout the story, the weather has always been an integral part. Showalter paints the image within the reader's mind by setting a perfect backdrop, whether it be with rain, thunder, lightning, or even sunlight. The weather is more than just an indicator of what the sky will look like. It is a setting for the tone of the story. No matter what is occurring in the story, Showalter never forgets to mention how the air is charged with electricity or whatever it may be at the time. The weather brings out the mood or tone during a certain moment. The main two types of weather set to bring out the tone were sunny and rainy. It was typically sunny whenever he was around Marianne Gray, and rainy whenever he was alone or felt a sense of hopelessness. The sun plays the role of brightening up the scene, literally. The sun typically is set to indicate that it is a good day and there are good moods in the air. Rain, on the other hand, can have either a dramatic role or a more exhausting, tiring role to show that the story is slowing down in a way, which is what Showalter's created throughout many of her chapters, mainly for the scene to be dramatic, surrounding emotions. Chapter 12 of How to Read Literature Like a Professor, Symbolism. Aiden carried around an iPod, normally just to listen to his favorite music, but deep down, it was more than that. He listened to this music whenever he became overwhelmed with whatever was going on, or when the voices in his head just wouldn't give him a break. It was as if the voices in his head would disappear as soon as they heard the music from his headphones approaching. In a way, the music was his way of escaping the challenges of the world, the juvenile detention centers, the institutions, and the human souls cramped in his head. Music is a way out for most individuals, and Hayden was one of those people. Giving the example of the main character, Hayden, escaping the problems of the world through music can allow the readers to connect, because that is one of the main reasons why some people today carry their headsets and music around with them. When many people put their headphones in and just let the music dance throughout their eardrums, all the stress before is no longer. Like many others, Aiden's music keeps him humble and all together. Chapter 24 of How to Read Literature Like a Professor, Illness. Aiden has what is referred to as a heart disease in the story. His heart squeezes out any passion or emotion of love that tries to enter. It comes from him not being loved by parents or anyone. He spent most of his life in juvenile detention centers where he was mostly on his own because he knew just how different he was from the other teenagers there, even though it was in fact a juvenile detention center. But he still knew he was far too abnormal to interact with them. Not knowing where to go when he needed someone to talk to because his therapist never really listened to understand, but listened because that's what they were paid to do, was the hardest for him. Practically living on his own, defending his own his entire life weighed a ton on him. He began adapting to depending on no one but himself, which emotionally drained his heart out. In conclusion, Aiden was a troubled teenager who differed from other teens in various ways. Not so much in not being cool, but having no control over a huge flaw that cannot just be covered up with makeup or a bang using your hair. It was not until he finally got into the world and away from the juvenile detention centers that he began to interact with normal people. He gains his self-dignity throughout the story after meeting a girl who would have such a strong impact on his life that she would never understand. He does encounter problems, but many teens do. His problems might not be as normal as theirs, but he still has them. The voices in his head may never go away, but he can now learn to live easier with them not bringing him so much of a distraction. Life for Hayden will change.
All the doctors are disease, and the preachers are sinners.